Hello, magnificent human beings. My name is Landon with Yoga New Mexico, where we focus on empowerment, alignment, and strength. You are in the right place, capable and strong. What are we doing today? It is standing separate leg, forehead to knee, Dandayamana Bibhaktapada Janushirasana. I've also heard this called pyramid pose, and I've also heard it called standing separate leg salute. And there's a lot of names because I think lots of postures share similar aspects of this pose. Specifically, it is this posture. So if you are interested in learning more about this pose, then we are going to dive in depth into it right meow. So go ahead and roll out your mat, and I will roll the intro screen. Thank you so much for being here. So it is time to look at standing separate leg, forehead to knee, Dandayamana Bibhaktapada Janushirasana. Now, this posture is similar to a lot of other poses, as I mentioned. I think pyramid pose is actually kind of a different posture, in my opinion. And then also, this is the base of revolving triangle as well. And there's kind of a lot of different poses that the foot placement shares with this posture specifically. So let's take a look. First of all is the stance, correct? Your feet are separated about 3 feet. That's kind of the best indicator I can give you, is roughly 3 feet. And you're gonna feel the stretch in your hamstring here as you hinge on down. And if you don't really feel a stretch in your hamstring, either one, you're super flexible, or you need to change the distance of where your foot is. If you bring it in way too short and come down, you're gonna cheat yourself, because you're gonna eventually, your back's gonna have to round too much when it really shouldn't have to. And if you're way too far apart, then there's gonna be no rounding involved. So that's the issue, is that you need to try to find that happy medium. So truly the best thing I can say is roughly 3 feet. If it helps you to measure, go ahead and literally measure the 3 feet. But it's really about getting a feel for it, and you're gonna know where that feel is in that front part of your hamstring. So let's assume you've got your feet all set up exactly where they need to be. This is the first thing where I really see people start to go wrong in this posture, is, they have their hands up overhead and they're saluting on down. Well, let's leave our hands out of this just for a moment, because there's something that happens in your hips right here that's very important. As you hinge down, that is the kind of important word there, right, is hinge, because your hips stay exactly where they are and you hinge forward. You don't hinge and pivot as you come down. So it's really easy to come all the way down if I just let my back hip kind of flare open. The reason why this posture is so annoyingly difficult, I think, is because you really have to keep your hips square with the front as you come down. And to do this, engage your inner thighs. That will help you keep your hips nice and square as you hinge on down. Next, we need to talk about our hands. So having your hands up here in this prayer position, this saluting position, and then coming on down. You're gonna notice that you get to a certain point where you just kind of can't take it anymore, right? Like you're right here and you go, and you just kind of fall and surrender. And that's totally cool, that's fine. But that's also where a little bit of the magic happens in the posture as well. So if you're one of these folks who just kind of, give in right about here, then really try to push yourself a little bit. And if you feel any pain in your low back and that's why you're stopping, then that's fine. I mean, obviously don't injure yourself, but don't cheat yourself, be strong, don't give up. So you're coming down, and there's this temptation of just let go, but really try to find those square hips. Stay with it. Keep coming. Engage the root of your spine, engage your core just a little, and keep going. So I often say in my classes that bend your knee as much as you need to so your forehead makes contact. So if you have to shift way, way forward and bring your forehead to your knee, then that's fine. I think it's extremely important to find that forehead to knee first and kind of forget about the stretch as it being secondary, which is almost blasphemous, right? Because, yoga's about stretching. Kinda, It's really important to have that forehead make contact with your knee, because not only does it create that energetic loop that you want, but it also kind of helps you to relax your neck and relax your back just a little bit, because you don't have to hold up the weight of your head. So when you're here and you can kind of relax that forehead onto your knee, then you can start to focus on then slowly straightening that knee. And here's another tip for the folks who separate your hands. Now, this is kind of a lot of balancing stuff, because your heels are in one line, everything's in one line, and then your fingertips are in one line, and you're coming down as well. And so you start to wobble left to right? So here are the cues that I give in a lot of classes to really kind of sync things up and just really hone everything in. So if you are coming down, first engage your inner thighs to help keep your hips square. Engage the root of your spine, that Mula Bandha, engage that, and then engage your core just a little bit. And then here's a little visualization. Energetically envision everything, all those cells, particles, all that beautiful mass of your body coming into one single solitary line. So the visualization is that you're bringing your center of gravity in, so that even if I had both arms over here, since my center of gravity is so strong, I could come down perfect without having things being, off balance or off weight. So bring all that in energetically, everything in towards your midline, engage your core, coming on down. And it will be easier to keep those fingertips together in that saluting position. There's a lot of stuff going on in this posture, I know. So it's really important to make sure that the forehead is, on your knee, so you can kind of relax a little bit. And that's, and then start worrying about the stretch later. Don't really think too much about, I need to make sure that, I'm feeling it in my hamstring and I'm feeling it here. That comes with time as you slowly begin to straighten out that knee. This next tip is for a modified version of the pose, which I almost enjoy better than the actual thing. So if you're in a tabletop position, go ahead and bring that right foot up like you're going to be in the base of a modified lunge. Hands up on your hips, and then this front foot, heel toe it in so it's in line with your knee. So you see how we're kind of sharing some of the same principles here of the other postures, that now we add this balancing element into it, which is great because we're next to the ground and we have much further to fall if we do. So And then this distance right here, you need to bring it in pretty shallow. So not like 2 fists, because that's way too much. Maybe like 3 or 3.5 fists, but not way up here. You do want it maybe just a little bit less than a foot, so pretty shallow. And you can see that this is pretty tough, and it's almost harder to balance in this pose than it is in the other posture, because all those little fast twitch muscles that help you balance in your foot, well, you don't have those in your knee, so you're relying a lot on other things to kind of help keep you where you need to be. But nonetheless, we're here, and those same principles apply. Engage that Mula Bandha, the root of your spine. Engage your core energetically. Bring everything in towards the midline, hands up overhead, and then saluting on down. Very good. So that's kind of the modified version of the pose. And this has, this is different than a pyramid, where I think we've seen some of the more traditional, as you come down, your hands are in this prayer position behind you, and you're coming on down. And there's a gentle rounding that happens in your back in that posture as well. But this is really more about that whole talk about, the thyroid, putting your chin into your chest to help balance the thyroid. And, whether you are in the camp of totally 100% believing that that act of bringing your chin into your chest helps to stimulate, activate, revitalize your thyroid, or not, that's not really up for debate in this class, because nonetheless, that's an element of the posture. So do you believe it? Cool. If you don't believe it, that's cool too. But nonetheless, that chin into your chest portion and then bringing your forehead to your knee, that is definitely part of it. Whereas in some versions of pyramid pose, I don't really see that active chin into chest. I see a more gentle lengthening, again, in some versions. So now we're like really splitting hairs about postures, right? Nonetheless, thank you all so much for being here. A quick comment below about this posture. This is definitely taken from more of kind of the Bikram-ish tradition versus some of the more, either like Ashtanga or traditional Hatha based, but nonetheless, thank you guys. I love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your day. Comment below, please. If I said something incorrect, I want to know. Or if you think it was the best thing ever, I want to know. Or if you like chocolate cake, I want to know. So thanks again from my heart to all of yours. You're amazing, brilliant, beautiful, magnificent human beings. Namaste.